On the defensive side of the ball, we'll start with corner. Dante Jackson and Cam Sutton, I have no faith coming back. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Dante Jackson was a guy I argued for most of the season, and then he got burnt by Rashad Bateman in the end zone, and I went, okay, that was the end of Dante Jackson. That was the final straw with Dante Jackson. Then he catches all the negative publicity for not trying to tackle a dude who's about to cross the first down, and okay, that's the end of Dante Jackson. It's the end of Dante Jackson in Pittsburgh. Cam Sutton, I mean, I like Cam, dude. I thought I had a lot of faith in Cam Sutton this year. I think that faith has backfired on me. You know, he didn't turn out to be the guy that I thought he would. I don't think they give the job immediately to Beanie Bishop next season. I think they bring in competition, but I do think that Beanie's a reason that you move on from Cam and feel okay about it. Corey Trice is still a third guy. I don't expect him to be a starter next year, but I do expect them to go out and get a corner. I wouldn't be surprised if they used a first or a second round pick on a cornerback this offseason, or if they went and signed somebody big and said, all right, let's go get a corner and match him up with Joey Porter Jr. and stop wasting time there. Defensive tackle, there are a number of them. The biggest one is Larry O. I expect him to get cut. He disappeared a lot this season. He's disappeared a lot throughout his career. Keanu Benton needs to play that position. You got to go get a nose tackle. I don't care who it is. If it's Javon Hargrave for cheap, cool. If you want to draft somebody, cool. Doesn't matter. You got to go put Keanu Benton as a defensive tackle, not a nose tackle. He's way too good to be playing limited reps. You go get backups. Dean Lowry's gone. Preston Smith's gone. Isaiah Loudermilk's gone. You hope DeMarvin Leal works out, but he could be traded. Who knows? And you go get some depth. You pretty much scratch it and start over. Montravius Adams might be the only name that comes back, but that's what you do. You just look at your defensive line and say, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, the rest of them are gone. Let's start over. And you can make it work. Luckily, the defensive line is the easiest position to merge into for any player across the league, and you could go get that. And then the linebackers. Man, Patrick Queen worked out. You can't get rid of him. I think the price tag this year is too big. Next year is where you could cut him and be pretty cap free on that situation. I think you bring back a Landon Roberts on a 1-year deal. Cole Holcomb, I think you bring back because he's still under contract, and then you hope Peyton Wilson's good. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they totally change that up. I wouldn't be shocked if everything looks different on the inside linebacker room. The outside linebacker room, I think, looks pretty much the same with their big three because they're just tied financially to the whole situation. And then there's safety. I still fall under the thing that under the umbrella of Minka is most likely not getting traded, but it almost makes too much sense to trade him. He's expensive. You could get a boatload of picks from Minka Fitzpatrick. And he just doesn't add the splash that you hope that he does for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That would be my biggest surprise of the whole offseason, but I'm going to toss it on the table as a very small maybe because you just never know. That's my defensive side of the ball. What you think? Look at these results. People are making free money betting on sports, making thousands every month. The secret? They're using OddsJam. OddsJam isn't just another betting app. It's turning the entire system in your favor. OddsJam uses a strategy called arbitrage, finding odds differences across sportsbooks. Bet both sides, and no matter the outcome, you will profit. Here's an example. You put $500 on Boise State to win on FanDuel and $335 on their opponent San Francisco on DraftKings. You're guaranteed to make $50 win or lose. With the OddsJam mobile app, you get real-time alerts on these opportunities every day. People are making thousands monthly. To get you started, use our code ALLSteelersTalk for 35% off and a 7-day free trial. I guarantee you'll profit during that trial, and if you don't, cancel with one click, no questions asked. Don't leave money on the table. Go to oddsjam.com, use our code ALLSteelersTalk, and start making money the smart way.
I have pushback on one, and I have complete and utter agreement on another. My pushback is the inside linebacker core. I think that while there were a large portion of this season where you looked at it and you said, man, just not delivering enough. I think that goes for Patrick Queen. I think that goes for a Landon Roberts at certain points of this season. Like you mentioned earlier in the episode, Peyton Wilson did hit that rookie wall, but that's somewhat to be expected whenever he's given a large role like he was early in his rookie season. So I like what I saw out of Peyton Wilson. I thought he had a pretty good game in the wild card game as well, but I think that you need a little bit of consistency out of that room because you completely overhauled it 2 years ago whenever you had Holcomb, Quan Alexander, and Landon Roberts. And then last year or this year coming in, the only person that stayed in was a Landon Roberts. And then you had Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson, and it was Mark Robinson as your number 4. I think you need another year to let those guys gel, especially because you can't go out and just change the entire defense. I understand that that's not what you're saying, but I think that specifically for a defense that at times this year did look very good, it kind of coincided with when that unit was working at its best. So I think you need to give them some more time to gel. I think that obviously you signed that big contract with Patrick Queen. You need to let that play out a little bit more. Where I do agree with you, though, cornerback. Maybe you bring Dante Jackson back, but maybe you bring him back as a number 3. I think that it has to be acknowledged that the dude was a walking hospital wing from week 4 of the season on. And I think that kind of played into it a lot. But I also think that you can say that and recognize that he is not a number 2 cornerback at the NFL level anymore. He is a number 3 at best. And I think if you're the Steelers, if you can bring in a strong number 2, whether that be via the NFL draft or via free agency, and then you bump him down to 3 and you bump Corey Trice to 4, I think you're feeling a lot more confident in that cornerback room than you did going into this year, because we all talked about it going into this year. Hey, the cornerback room looks good if Corey Trice can take a step forward, if Darius Rush could take a step forward. Well, one of them took a step off the roster and the other one dealt with injuries. So you're still having question marks behind number 1 and number 2. So I think you do look into bringing Dante Jackson back as a number 3. And then as far as safety, you brought up the play where Dante Jackson didn't make the tackle. I'm going to say that goes more towards the turnover culture that hasn't forced turnovers in 5 weeks, because how about Minka just makes the tackle 4 yards short of the first down marker instead of just trying to strip the ball? Because, I mean, Dante standing there isn't a good look, but Minka Fitzpatrick playing handball when you're trying to win a football game, I didn't like that either. So trading him that's a conversation that is going to be talked about a lot this offseason, but I think the return has to be pretty significant. And like you mentioned, you might be able to get a significant return, and maybe you do, because maybe that's what kind of changes things up for the defense. But I think that's something that a lot of people are going to talk about. But specifically, cornerback is the one area that I think you definitely need to focus and get an upgrade on, and then defensive line as well. But that's what we've been talking about pretty much all season.
Yeah, I agree. I think the argument with Dante is I liked what I saw out of Corey. I thought in a limited role, I liked what I saw out of Corey. And then on top, I like James Pierre. As crazy as it sounds, dude, I think James Pierre is a fantastic special teamer. And that's all you're looking for in a cornerback for. He should never be on the field. I think he's a fantastic special teamer. And sometimes you keep special teamers. I mean, Ben Skoranek is a Steeler for life because of what he did on special teams this season. And I think James Pierre is a number like Mark Robinson. You're never going to let Mark Robinson go. And if you do, you're nuts, because that guy is a turnover machine on punts. And I like James Pierre there. But if Dante's cheap, I understand that. I just don't know if I expect him to be cheap. 5 interceptions. I think somebody's going to call him and say, yeah, we'll give you money. We'll give you $8 million for the year. Okay. He's not. I'd give him 2 and feel pretty okay about that situation and go draft somebody else.